I will begin our ranking from those who killed fewer people to those who personally murdered the largest number of innocent civilians. Top 7. Erich Priebke. Erich Priebke was born in 1913 in Germany. He grew up during the post-World War I crisis, when ideas of revanchism and nationalism were actively spreading throughout society. In his youth, Priebke joined the Nazi Party and was later accepted into the SS, where he received standard military and ideological training. He did not stand out as a leader, but was considered a disciplined and reliable executor of orders. During World War II, Priebke served in Italy as part of the German security services. In March 1944, he became one of the direct participants in the Ardeatine massacre. After a partisan attack on German soldiers, a decision was made to execute hostages. Priebke personally took part in the shootings, compiled lists of victims, and escorted people to the execution site. 335 people were killed in the caves, including civilians and prisoners. After the war, Priebke fled to Argentina and lived there unpunished for decades. Only in the 1990s was he extradited to Italy, where he was sentenced to life imprisonment. He died in 2013 at the age of 100, never admitting guilt. Top 6. Klaus Barbie. Klaus Barbie was born in 1913 in Germany. His childhood took place amid post-war instability and the radicalization of society. In his youth, Barbie quickly aligned himself with the Nazi movement and soon joined the SS and later the Gestapo. He rapidly mastered methods of repression and interrogation, which made him a valuable figure within the Third Reich's security apparatus. During World War II, Barbie was sent to France and served in the city of Lyon. There, he became head of the Gestapo and earned the nickname the Butcher of Lyon. Barbie personally participated in torture and killings. He beat prisoners, used electric torture, attended executions, and issued orders that he himself carried out. Under his leadership and with his direct involvement, thousands of people were killed. One of the most infamous episodes was the arrest and death of French resistance leader Jean Moulin after brutal torture. After the war, Barbie managed to flee to South America, where he hid in Bolivia for many years. Only in 1983 was he extradited to France. He was found guilty of crimes against humanity and sentenced to life imprisonment. He died in prison in 1991 without expressing remorse. Top 5. Vasily Blokhin. Vasily Blokhin was born in 1895 in the Russian Empire into a peasant family. After the revolution, he joined the Red Army and later entered the Cheka, which later became the NKVD. Blokhin quickly became part of the repression system, where obedience, cold-bloodedness, and absolute loyalty to orders were valued. By the start of World War II, he held the position of commander of an NKVD execution squad. During the war, Blokhin personally participated in mass executions. The most infamous episode was the Katyn massacre in 1940. Blokhin personally shot Polish prisoners of war, using a pistol to work faster and more efficiently. According to testimonies, he killed 200 to 300 people per night, acting methodically and without emotion. Historians believe the total number of people he personally executed amounts to thousands, making him one of the most prolific executioners in history. After the war, Blokhin was never prosecuted and continued his service, receiving awards and ranks. However, after Stalin's death, he was dismissed, stripped of his titles, and fell into depression. He died in 1955, officially from a heart attack, without ever being held accountable for his actions. Top 4. Amon Goeth. Amon Goeth was born in 1908 in Vienna into a typical Austrian middle-class family. In his youth, he quickly joined the Nazi movement and entered the SS, advancing rapidly thanks to his brutality and complete loyalty to the regime. By the beginning of World War II, Goeth already had experience in punitive units. In 1943, Goeth was appointed commandant of the Plaszow concentration camp in occupied Poland. There, he became notorious for extreme cruelty. Goeth personally killed prisoners, often shooting them without reason, from the balcony of his house or during camp inspections. He executed people for minor violations, murdered women and children, participated in mass shootings, and beat prisoners to death. Witnesses stated that killing was part of his daily routine. In 1944, Goethe was arrested by the Nazis themselves for corruption, but avoided serious punishment. After the war, he was captured by Allied forces, handed over to Poland, and put on trial. In 1946, Amon Goethe was found guilty of war crimes and executed by hanging. He became one of the few concentration camp commandants who were executed for their crimes. Top 3. Oskar Dirlewanger. Oskar Dirlewanger was born in 1895 in Germany. He had fought in World War I, but failed to adapt to civilian life afterward. Dirlewanger was known for his brutality, unstable behavior, and criminal tendencies, yet due to his connections within the Nazi Party, he was accepted into the SS. During World War II, Dirlewanger commanded an SS penal unit composed of criminals. His unit was used in punitive operations against civilian populations, primarily in Belarus and Poland. Dirlewanger personally participated in killings, beatings, and the burning of villages. Under his command, people were shot, locked inside buildings, and burned alive, and women and children were exterminated. Witnesses reported that he himself fired weapons and encouraged extreme violence, turning operations into mass executions. Toward the end of the war, Dirlewanger was seriously wounded and captured. In 1945, he died in a prisoner of war camp, reportedly beaten to death by guards. His death was not the result of a trial, but it marked the end of one of the most brutal executioners of the war. Top 2. Mukai Toshiaki. Mukai Toshiaki was born in Japan in the early 20th century into an ordinary family. In his youth, he entered military service, where he was raised in the spirit of rigid militarism and unquestioning obedience to orders. By the beginning of World War II, Mukai was an officer in the Imperial Japanese Army and participated in military operations in China. In 1937, during the capture of Nanjing, Mukai became one of the direct participants in mass killings of civilians and prisoners. He became infamous due to the so-called contest between Japanese officers who could behead 100 people the fastest with a sword. Mukai personally killed prisoners using bladed weapons, and these events were reported in the Japanese press as military achievements. These actions became a symbol of the extreme dehumanization and cruelty displayed by Japanese soldiers during the Nanjing massacre. After the war, Mukai was arrested by Chinese authorities. His crimes were documented. In 1948, Mukai Toshiaki was found guilty of war crimes and executed. His case remains one of the most well-known examples of direct personal participation in mass killings during World War II. Top 1. Noda Takeshi. Noda Takeshi was born in Japan in the early 20th century. Like many young men of that era, he was raised in the spirit of militarism, emperor worship, and contempt for the enemy. In his youth, Noda entered military service and built a career as an officer in the Imperial Japanese Army. By the start of World War II, he was involved in military operations in China. In 1937, during the capture of Nanjing, Noda became one of the direct perpetrators of mass killings. He gained notoriety for participating in the infamous contest among officers, who would be the first to behead 100 prisoners with a sword. Noda personally killed people with bladed weapons not in combat, but during the execution of unarmed captives. After Japan's defeat, Noda was arrested by Chinese authorities. His crimes were investigated and confirmed through documentation, including wartime press reports. In 1948, Noda Takeshi was found guilty of war crimes and executed. His story remains one of the most horrifying examples of direct personal participation in mass murder during World War II.